Alright, day before Halloween, October 30th, 2024. Back in Boulder, that means we got voodoo donuts and coffee. Coffee's not so good, but they have vegan donuts, and that's important. But in today's vlog episode, training for the 24-hour race, been meaning to do this over the last couple of months because I think it's really important. And, well, Sandy and I are both excited to do it, but we're meeting Dina Griffin, aka the Sweat Mechanic. I'll link to her website and Instagram handle in the description below, as well as at the end of this video. We're in Boulder getting a sweat test with her, getting into the science of how salty basically is your sweat, and I'll let her explain. But we're heading to South Boulder. We're gonna do it at the Runner's Roost running store, and yeah, we'll see what she says. Excited to test this out because I've always wanted to do it over the years, and I think it could be a real game changer for our performance in dialing in that hydration nutrition strategy that's so important in these long ultras, and solving my stomach issues, as well as not getting massively dehydrated during a long distance race. So let's get up there.
Well, I'm excited to do sweat sodium testing on you guys. So what we're going to learn today is how much sodium is in a liter of your sweat. And even though we're not having you exercise or do any, kind of movement to generate sweat, the equipment's going to take care of that stimulation of sweat. We'll get a sweat sample using medical grade equipment here.
Oh, wow.
We'll have the results right away. It's a low, non-invasive test. It's very effective. It's a one and done kind of test. So because the results are mostly genetically determined, you don't have to repeat this testing. So it's about 80-85% genetically determined. So it's a really great test. I hate being cliche, it's a game changer, but it's such a super test to do if you can afford, the test or have the means to do it, because it really can inform our hydration plan, our use of electrolyte products, specifically the sodium that's in our products, how much we want to aim for. So it really can help kind of level up the hydration plans. For some athletes, it helps minimize the GI distress that's been happening, especially if you race ultra or any kind of endurance, on top of it being maybe in hotter climates. Or if you're a heavy sweater, and you're just struggling to figure out sweet spot for fluid intake and sodium intake. This is the game changer right here, what we're gonna do. And so I'm so excited to find out your data points.
We're excited too. Thank you. That's great. You could see the clips in the office lab there, and then she actually pulls out this fluid with the syringe, and it mixes with some chemicals, goes into very fancy looking medical device there, again, medical grade equipment. And it is affiliated with Precision Hydration. I'm not sponsored by them. Obviously, being unsponsored in the nutrition department currently, I've been exploring around with a lot of Precision Hydration products, but also other products which I'll talk about for part of my game plan. But we really wanted this to be a game changer for both me and Sandy, looking at our individual sweat profiles, because it's so individual. It's based on genetics, and it doesn't really change over time that much. It will change, of course, if you're exercising at a very high intensity, and if you're exercising in very hot conditions or humid conditions versus very cold or dry conditions. So, there's a relative sweat rate, but the sodium concentration is what we're really looking at in this test. And again, you see some of the precision graphics, but what surprised me was the results. And I got this full report from the Nutrition Mechanic. You could follow Dina Griffin. I'll put links to her website for all her services below. So if you're ever in the Boulder, Denver area, got to check that out. Highly recommend. And this obviously is a plug for her, but we really wanted to get this done, and it was really helpful because after the test results, I actually got to see, as well as Sandy, you instantly get to see the results of my individual profile. And it's 962 milligrams of sodium per liter of sweat. So what does that mean? It means that's about how much I want to drink. And we might have a range of 700 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per liter of fluid being drunk. But the most intriguing thing to me, and this is what I'm learning from with some meltdowns earlier in the year, I was really suffering at Tarawera. I lost a very high percentage of my body weight, I think 8 or 9 pounds of body weight at Tarawera at the finish line. And I was actually, there was blood in my urine after the race. I probably should have gone to the hospital. But severely dehydrated, throwing up after the race at Tarawera, stomach issues, horrible meltdown also at UTMB, feeling like I was totally dehydrated and, of course, puking, having GI issues, but also getting really weak and dizzy and just all sorts of issues. We found that actually I'm probably not drinking enough fluid. I thought I don't sweat very much. I thought my sodium was super salty. Turns out I'm a little on the high side, but it's actually fairly average. And Sandy's profile is totally different, but I've probably been drinking too much salt and too little volume of fluid, so too high of a sodium concentration. So we're totally, with these results, with this report, and she gives you a full comprehensive, preloading, pre-hydration, hyperhydration system that you would do before a race, as well as during your race strategy, and general ideas like putting more salt on your food, because my blood sodium is also usually pretty low. But, I didn't sweat as salty as I thought I did in the past, and I was just guessing before. But now I have a concrete, solid nutrition plan. Thanks to this test, thanks to Dina Griffin, nutrition mechanic. Again, her Instagram handle I'll put out there as well as in the description below, link to her website. But super, super helpful. And I have to drink close to 1 liter an hour. That's 34 ounces an hour. So you look at this Camelback bottle, which I'm going to have in the 24-hour race. And, if you fill it up to here, it's about 500 mil, so half a liter. If you fill it all the way, it's about 620 mil, so that would be 1.24 liters. And if it's hot out, I'm going to drink the whole thing every half hour about. Hopefully, I've been trying to stomach that on training runs, long training runs, and I felt good. I could chug these within a minute, actually, and actually hold it. It's good for the Taco Bell 50K training and beer mile training, I'd say. But drinking that much fluid, and yeah, I have to pee a lot initially, but it's better than getting massively dehydrated and then not peeing at all for like 8 or 10 hours, which happened to me once at Western States when I was also puking my guts out from dehydration, I think. And I don't want to lose 4 or 5% of my total body weight during the course of an ultra, because it starts slowing you down. So the sodium balance and the fluid volume is very important. And we did some sodium loss tests or water weight loss tests beforehand, which she analyzed, and I found that I do lose a lot of water weight. I thought it was mainly glycogen burning and CO2 exhaled water vapor out of the mouth. But you don't pee on these runs. You measure your weight before and after, buck naked. You wipe the sweat away. And I lose a considerable amount very quickly, even in cold and dry conditions on say a 10-mile run, 16K run. So I found, drinking a lot more. This is going to be like twice as much as I was drinking at the start of the first several hours of UTMB, when it was a little on the warmer side this year at UTMB. I was only drinking, about 1 liter every 2 hours. So I need to drink like twice as much, but I need to take less sodium. And that's where these sodium tabs, this is actually the Precision Hydration 1500. I'm going to move down to the 1000, and that's per liter. In each tab, there's only going to be 500 milligrams of sodium, and I'll put that in one of these bottles. So it's only 500 milligrams of sodium per half liter, or per 600 milliliters. It's like 16 to 18 ounces, right? But then, of course, taking gels and other food sources that may have sodium in them. These actually don't. I really like the SIS Beta Fuel. I've been experimenting with that, and it's part of my nutrition plan going into the 24-hour championship race, as well as other textures, different textures like these chews, 30 grams of carbs in the chews, but also other drink mixes from other brands. I'm not going to name them all because I'm unsponsored, not with Spring Energy anymore, full disclaimer there. But really do appreciate the support, and it's totally changed my whole perspective and game plan for attacking not only races, but also training, especially the ultramarathons, and knowing that sodium concentration, knowing your sweat rate, knowing how much you have to replenish on the run, and realizing it's going to be more fluid when it's hot out, less fluid, but the sodium concentration really doesn't change because it's based on your genetics and the sweat profile. And the only way to really know it, to get take out the guesswork is to get a sweat test like this done. So highly recommend Nutrition Mechanic. Again, link below to her website, as well. Give her a follow, Dina Griffin, on Instagram. And thanks again for all your support in this, bringing back more science. We got the Ultramarathon Championship, 24 hours, how far can I run? This weekend, it's taper time. I'm getting ready to do a pre-hydration strategy in the next few days, carbo loading as well, but stay tuned on here. We got some more footage coming your way. Thanks to Patreon supporters for making this channel possible, and subscribing, liking for these videos. Comment below with how you're doing, and stay tuned for more via 2Max Productions.